You lost your camera!
Alright.
Fire! Surrender!
General 10. Need armbands. Oh, we need armbands. I still got my armband. You want in? You keep yours? No, I didn't take mine. Well, I'm gonna get going. Alright. Not Thursday, but we're still in the house now. I can do that. Hello YouTube, Mr. Crow Jr. here. I hope that everybody enjoyed celebrating their 4th of July this year. I personally celebrated it with a bunch of my friends and teammates playing airsoft games and specifically the zombie games at Iron Man Paintball. Unfortunately, the crowds were rather small that day, so we actually had to downsize and do some regular pickup games. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless. Shouldn't be too big of a surprise, but I have been very busy as of late, and that's been preventing me to do videos. On top of being busy, whenever I do have free time, I find myself doing other things instead of trying to buckle down and record footage for my channel, so I guess I'm my own worst enemy. But anyways, for the month of June, I actually left for town twice. The first time I went to attend a concert in Minneapolis, and then the following weekend I went to Wisconsin with my airsoft team, the Rednecks and Gentlemen, to attend a 300-person giant game. So, yeah, the bills were fun to pay that month. The concert began at 9 p.m., so I actually had to plan ahead and decided to stay the night in the cities because I thought I'd be too tired to drive my way home. Now that I look back, I probably would have been okay driving all the way home, but, I mean, it's the cities, and this was actually my very first road trip ever by myself to the cities. So, I mean, there were some of the things I'd like to do before I head back home. I mean, yeah. If you checked out my Facebook page at Mr. Crow Jr., you would see that I actually uploaded photos from my time at the Postmodern Jukebox concert. The venue was Mill City Nights on Friday, June 12th, 2015. So I stayed the night at the Hilton in Minneapolis. So I was looking around for deals online, finding the cheapest hotel that was of a higher quality, so I don't get like a cheap cockroach-filled motel and, I don't know, get some sort of disease or something like that by staying the night. But another thing that brought my attention to the Hilton was I actually saw references of it in Mad Men, which actually became a pretty major plot point for Don Draper with his interactions with Conrad Hilton. And I got a kick out of seeing Mr. Hilton's photo like plastered all over the hotel and then comparing him to the actor, so that was pretty entertaining. The Hilton was a very luxurious palace. It was really nice. Lots of wood, lots of gold. It made me feel like a rich man, and it was exactly the kind of atmosphere I loved. Class and luxury and old-timey styles. I also spent a lot of my time in the pool, since I don't really have a membership to go to any pools, so I just, in my downtime, I'd go there and swim, and I just had a blast. So this was my first time in the cities, but the Hilton was actually not my first stop. There was an old lady friend of mine. She recommended me to go check out this pastry that has what she believed to be the best macaroons she's ever had, and she's been to France. So I decided to stop by and grab a couple on my way into the Hilton. So that was a lot of fun. There's also a friend of mine, a super otaku guy. He really enjoys anime and stuff and Japanese culture, so I recommended to go check out Zenbox Izakaya. Little restaurant with very authentic Japanese food, but unfortunately it did not match up with my schedule every time that I would go there, so I wasn't able to enjoy it this time. But the next time I'm in Minneapolis, I will try my best to be there. But anyways, after I situated myself at the Hilton and like got all dressed up, I got like a red shirt and a bow tie and suspenders. I'm ready to go to see the Postmodern Jukebox live, and but I had trouble finding the venue at Mill City Nights. And while I was looking at my map and my GPS trying to figure out where to go, I accidentally ran a red light, and with my luck, I just happened to have a police officer right behind me. And I was like, "Ah!" So immediately I pull over to the right, and I'm like, kind of in this state of panic, because I mean, it's like about 20 minutes to the concert, like, and now I have to pay even more money just for missing a stupid red light, and I was just really upset at myself. And there were two officers that were approaching me, one on my right and one on my left, and so yeah, I rolled down my window, and the officer's like, "How's it going today? You look all nice and dressed up. What's the occasion?" And my response was, "Look, man, I'm really sorry. I'm from out of town. I'm just looking around for this concert. I'm just looking for Mill City Nights. I'm really sorry. I'll pay more attention to the road. Just please, yeah." And then dude's like, "Oh yeah. So like, what do you do for a living?" And he's like, his partner, the guy on my right, is checking out my car through plain view with his flashlight, taking a look at my stuff. I had all my airsoft guns unloaded and my luggage, so all that was back there was like some random knickknacks, my paintball mask, and a little Thor's hammer with the word "ban" taped onto it. And they're looking through it, and he's like, "So you like superheroes, eh?" "Yeah, my favorite's the Green Lantern." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then we talk a little bit more, and he asks like, "Yeah, where do you work?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a sushi chef and a Chinese cook at my local grocery store in Rochester." He's like, "Oh, you're from Rochester, eh?" And then he's like, "Yeah, just give me your ID. We'll call it good. Let me just punch this in, and you can be on your way." And then like when he went to go punch it in, he actually gave me directions to Mill City Nights, which really helped me out. It was just really nice cops. I mean, considering all the bad press that like the urban areas, and especially the cops in like in the South, like Baltimore and Georgia and all those places, it like I already have a natural like fear, like a type of respectful fear for law enforcement and authority figures. So, but I was doubly cautious because this was my first time there, and like I was just really worried about it. But turned out these were the nicest cops that I've ever met, and I just would like to praise the Lord for having them encounter me instead of some cop that was having a bad day and throwing his anger at me. So that was wonderful. Yeah, at one point the cop was like, "You smell nice," and I'm like, "Thank you, officer." And then as he handed me my ID back, he asked me, "Hey, what's your favorite superhero?" And I just answered seriously, and I said Captain America. And he's like, "Really, man? Really? Well, enjoy your concert and drive safely." In retrospect, I probably could have gotten away saying something really funny like The Punisher or Mad Max, because he's a great role model. He's a police officer like you guys. That could have like been humorous and whatnot. But yeah, I'm just glad it ended the way it did. And yeah. So after driving around a bit, I finally found Mill City Nights, and I walked in, and the place was pretty full. I mean, tickets sold out the night before, so the place was packed, and standing room only. And the songs that they were playing were stuff like Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, Imagine Dragons, Sam Smith, and a bunch of modern pop songs. I mean, Postmodern Jukebox, what they do is they play today's pop hits, and they do it in older styles, like 1940s jazz, 1950s Motown, and doo-wop, and there's a lot of like really cool lounge music and soul and tap dancing music. In fact, they actually had a special guest tap dancer on stage, and it was just a really enjoyable time. The crowd was a bit of an older crowd, like up in the 40s and 50s, and a few 60-year-olds even, but those that were of my age, like around the 20s and 30s, they came dressed for the occasion, and I was so glad that I wasn't the only one. Lots of bow ties and suspenders, vests, blazers, suit jackets, and a lot of lovely young ladies wearing dresses and polka dot 1950s gowns, and it was a classy joint with a classy crowd. I honestly don't like concerts because they're very loud and very packed, and it can get really bad really quickly, and there's a lot of like attention whoring people. Like on stage, it was pretty funny because I saw people like trying to like start a wave, and they all kind of didn't. Oh, and there was a guy in a kilt, and his girlfriend was wearing a really nice red polka dot dress. So I was like, "Hey guys, I really like your outfits," and they're like, "Oh, thanks, we like yours too." and it was pretty cool. Yeah, both of them were wearing Converse sneakers. It was quite a sight to behold. And the crowd interaction was a lot of fun. I mean, the ladies would be all like femme fatale-ish and like flirt with the crowd. Like, one of the older ladies would actually grab the tie and like use it as a leash to some of the patrons. And it was just an enjoyable experience. Scott Bradley himself said that this was his first time in Minneapolis, and this will definitely not be the last. So, yeah, I'm just glad that they enjoyed their stay as much as we enjoyed watching them. What threw me off that I really enjoyed was that how much of a humble man Scott Bradley was. Like, during the concert, he would talk about the history of Postmodern Jukebox and his own story, how he started out in New York, just a piano player that would travel around bars and get hired to play the piano. It would originally just be him, the crowd, and a piano. And during the concert he explained this, and then he had the segment where it's like, I'm going back to my roots. It's just going to be a man, his piano, and the crowd. What do you guys want me to play? And then the crowd all chanted out all these different songs and different authors. And what he came up with was a mixture of Nat King Cole, Weezer, John Williams of Star Wars, and I believe Billy Joel. And he just had this medley that he played, and I presume that he just got it from the top of his head. And it was an arrangement that he just came up with on the spot, and it was a pretty impressive medley. I mean, I really enjoy his skill. I mean, his stuff has been helping out with BioShock Infinite soundtrack. So, yeah. And at the end, he introduced everybody by name, including the MC, including the tap dancing lady, special guests, and then everyone would have their own little solo that they would do, or sing, or perform. And then the MC would all go up and then introduce Scott Bradley, and then they'd all wave, and he even took a selfie of the crowd with his band. And, yeah, it was just an enjoyable experience. I mean, even the crowd was chanting their name for like 5 minutes, and then they finally had an encore and went out back up and started playing. It was just an awesome crowd. I got a CD from them, and I actually gave that to a friend of mine. So, yeah, she was really disappointed that she couldn't go, and I felt bad for her, so I got her the CD as a gift. So after the concert, I actually just went around looking for a restaurant. I was very hungry, and it was about 11 p.m., so I decided to park and just walk around the places. My first stop was at Zenbox, but by the time I got there, they were actually closed. So I just went and looked around, and I did a midnight walk. It was a little bit scary, but it was also very enjoyable. But I couldn't find a place that met my price bracket, and was still open. So what I ended up doing was going to the Hilton, asked a few suggestions, and then I just walked like literally 2 blocks down and went to the Newsroom. Very classy little joint. It has magazines and newspaper articles strewn all over the place. And I went down and grabbed a glass of water and ordered a flatbread. And I was expecting like a 5-inch like personal pan flatbread, but what came out was like a 12 by 12 grid. It was like this enormous flatbread pizza with all these exotic ingredients. Like it had like sausage and salami and pepperoni and carrots and cauliflower, and I loved the sauce. It was, in my opinion, a very good flatbread. But yeah, so I stayed the night at the Hilton, and the next morning I got up and utilized the pool and the sauna to its full extent. Figured I'd get my money's worth out of the Hilton. And then after I packed up and left, I went straight to Zenbox Izakaya, hoping to get some Japanese food before I leave town. But unfortunately, I misread the times and found out they were closed. And then I locked myself out of my own vehicle, and then like literally about an hour later, after trying all my lock-picking techniques that I knew, I could not get into my vehicle, so I just called up my insurance to see if I could get some roadside assistance, and thankfully, it covered it. So I was able to get back into my vehicle within a timely manner, safely, without any broken windows or anything like that. So on my way out of the cities, I decided to stop by General J's Military Surplus. And the place was designed more like a thrift store for survivalists and military enthusiasts. The place was a bit shady. Like 10 minutes into my shopping, I overheard this argument going on between what I assume is a former employee and the owner. And it brought in apparently some like next door shop owner, and it was just really mildly uncomfortable. So I decided to take a quick peek around. If I was in CAP, this would have been a great place to go because there's a ton of boots and like BDU pants and stuff like that. But anyways, all I found was this oddball like coin purse and some telephones. They wouldn't let me test it though, so I just grabbed the little coin purse, paid $1 for it, and then left. Right next door to the place, there was this Arabian restaurant called Jerusalem, I think, and I decided to have shawarma and falafel for the first time. It was the special for the day, and I must say that I actually enjoyed it. It reminds me a lot of like gyros and Greek food, so I really enjoyed that. So yeah, after General J's and Jerusalem, I headed back to Rochester, and on my way there I actually stopped by, I believe, Welch Village for a graduation party from an old CAP and airsofting buddy of mine. And then when I finally did arrive in Rochester, I went straight to a graduation party for a coworker, and she had the bright idea of going like, "Hey, let's go swimming." So I'm like, "All right, I know somebody. I think she'll let us join her." And so we all went to the Viking Lounge to go swimming for a little bit, and lo and behold, I actually encountered some old college friends of mine completely by accident. And I actually did not realize the extent of how tired I was from swimming earlier in the day, going on a long road trip, being stressed out from being locked out of my own vehicle, and then just being tired, and the combination of a large group of people in the pool that I never actually experienced, that I actually almost drowned in the deep end of the pool. It was actually a very terrifying situation, but thankfully a friend of mine, she was pushing me closer and closer to this guy so he can pull me in. He didn't hear me very clearly, though. They were all just kind of derping about having some fun. But thankfully he noticed and then pulled me in, and I decided to just call it quits then and there, and left. So I'm just glad it didn't end badly. Anyways, the footage that you're seeing was actually recorded on June 19th and June 20th, 2015 at the Twin Cities Airsoft Giant Game 3. Myself, my airsoft team, the Rednecks and Gentlemen, and regulars from Ironman Paintball's Airsoft Open Plays, all attended it as one giant squad serving under the Horseman, specifically under Scorpion. I actually answered to him as basically squad leader, and then he would just basically like acting like a sergeant. The factions were the Northwest Alliance, or the Red Team, and the Great Lakes Crusaders, or the Blue Team. The Blue Team was led by the Renegade Knights. And this actually was the biggest game of my career so far. Supposedly there were supposed to be 300 people attending the game, but I feel like the numbers dwindled on Sunday. By Saturday, both teams had tanks, but by Sunday, only the Blue Team had a tank, and I credit that pretty much as the reason why the Blue Team won. There was a severe disadvantage, and while I did enjoy my time there, it was not balanced. There was a lot of issues and miscommunication, but that's to be expected with large games like this. There were actually a few instances where I got hit by the tank, and at least 2 instances where I successfully got away from the tank. One time I actually was hiding from the tank in a bush, and I used the bush's angles to hide from it and then just ran away. And I was heading towards an enemy base over near Mayhem Arena, and then I heard gunfire heading my direction, so I just immediately jumped into a different bush. And while I was waiting there for the squad to pass by, they just kept coming and coming and coming, and eventually I was surrounded by 20 enemy blue soldiers, and some of them were actually looking straight at me. They thought maybe I was like a blue team just resting, or if that was a red guy. And this guy's just like staring at me, and I'm like slowly drawing my pistol, and he's like, "Red or blue?" And then immediately to my right, a guy jumps in yelling, "Bang, bang, 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 bang!" And I call myself out, and here I am surrounded by 20 guys. I had a Thunder Bee on me, and I was super disappointed in myself that I did not get them. Like, I could have changed the tide of the battle, and I failed to. Another thing I failed to do was get a positive kill-death ratio. You see, on Saturday when the game began, it was actually delayed for an hour because of the rain, so the entire place was really, really muddy. And, I mean, like, everyone's pumped up. This is the day people have been waiting for. So, like, literally, like, 150 people are rushing down this muddy lane, and I'm trying to keep up, and then I trip and fall in the mud, and, my Thunder Bee was actually deployed, and my teammate, Henchman, he actually caught it, and apparently it exploded in his face, and I must have wiped out, like, 15 teammates, but it was so close to the respawn, I don't think they caught me with it, so I just kept going. And yeah, I have a negative kill count. Like, I don't remember a specific instance where I actually hit anybody that day. So yeah, that was quite embarrassing. However, I did make up for it in support because I was drafted as being not only the squad commander for Iron Man. Eventually I got split up and let those guys do their own thing and follow objectives from the Horsemen. But eventually I was also drafted into doing a MASH unit role. I was basically tethered with 2 other players to this flagpole, and what we would do is we would tag players that were out to respawn them. We were a forward respawn point. And we could only move if the 3 of us were still alive, but if one of us was hit, then the other 2 can still revive other players, but we cannot move anymore. We would just stay there until the last one gets hit. Unfortunately, a majority of my footage that I recorded was actually of me being part of that MASH unit, so I don't really consider high-fiving several red team members to be incredibly entertaining airsoft footage. But however, you're more than welcome to check out RNG Airsoft, that's my airsoft team, the Rednecks Gentlemen's YouTube channel, to see that time that Thunderbee blew up, wiping out half my team, and how we maintain a forward offensive into Mayhem. It was actually pretty, in my opinion, pretty epic. So please check that out.
Copy. So we peel around that way then? Fuck yourself, Kyle. There's a little bit of a skirmish going down. Me and Crow are standing here listening.
Is he red? Okay, he's red.
Scorpion, is that you? Hey, Black Base is under fire. Like heavy suppression, like 10 guys. That's all I got from Abner.
Is there anybody in there?
Yeah, Abner is. Abner, are you still in the base?
Yes, I'm still in the base.
How many are there in you?
You guys are afraid of getting wet?
Not really, no.
15 or
Oh,
so. Why they've got that fucking tank distracted, we go down in the creek, sneak through the fucking creek, and take green.
Fuck it, let's do it.
We can't do nothing with that fucking tank sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
We need the law, we need something to take it out, and Kyle's driving the fucking tank again.
Last I heard, General's
Kyle
got
the
10
douchebag.
rockets.
Yeah. What?
Wait, who?
Last I heard, our General's got 10 rockets, though.
Yeah, but we need the law and the rest to take it out.
Oh, so it doesn't come from Claw?
No.
Wow. Okay. Right, which way's the creek? I got rear guard.
Abner, I'm with Scorpion and Crow. We're moving through the creek. We're gonna take green base. Copy.
Anyways, for the future of Mr. Crow Jr., I'm going to be progressively busy throughout the summer, so I can never commit to a set schedule for this. I mean, I've got bigger fish to fry. Like, I got to focus on my work. I mean, I've got the semester coming back up, starting up in late August. My airsoft team will be busy working with Iron Man Paintball for Skyhook 2 and other stuff like that. I still plan to do playthroughs and sometimes reviews of obscure games. I'm actually thinking about starting up this segment called Adventures or in Thrift Shop Gaming and stuff like that. I still plan to do a review and then a playthrough, maybe of highlights of Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. That's actually one of my personal favorite games of all time. And I also plan to do a review of the Armored Core series as a whole, see like the differences and how much has changed from Armored Core 1 to Armored Core 5 Verdict Day. And I will be if I do that, I will be collaborating with my airsoft teammate Blitz on that. And who knows? There has been interest in RNG doing a Let's Play segment, and we might eventually do that. Like we'll do probably like highlight videos, cooperative gameplay footage, versus footage. But there's no real set plans for it right now. But eventually we hope to expand to that. Also, I recently had my very first collaboration. Kylster925 approached me and asked if I wanted to help out with the Airsoft Channel project. And I said yes, and I lent my voice to be the narrator for the Airsoft Channel. The Airsoft Channel was meant to be like a parody of History Channel, so we would be doing Airsoft games in the style of a History Channel documentary. And it was a hit, and apparently it's been getting a lot of positive press in the Airsoft community, and I'm just proud to be on board for the project. It's a great honor, and I hope to be doing more collaborations like that in the near future. My only gripe, though, is that I had to narrate the tank that killed me. That honey badger. Brr, 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 brr. But if you haven't seen the Twin Cities Airsoft Giant Game 3 documentary, I strongly recommend you check that out as soon as possible. I even put a link of it into the description of this video, so don't hesitate. Watch that now. Seriously, it's a lot of fun. But anyways, thank you very much for watching this vlog. I hope to post more videos in the near future. And if you haven't already, please like Mr. Crow Jr. on Facebook, as I will be posting a lot more than I will be making videos. That much I can guarantee. Anyways, bye-bye! Nah, it's gonna get in the way.